everybody, and welcome to episode 349 of the Saturn Studs Podcast. I'm Kurt, joined once again this week by my Texan co-hosts, Peter and Jake.
Howdy, y'all. We're coming at you this week with the surprise fast food chain revival edition of the cast. Just when your favorite place to eat you thought it was out of reach, comes back to you. You find it one day. It's sitting there, and the Grubhub recommends, and you go, "Oh, it's a sign from God."
Have either of you been to Whataburger?
Once, yes.
I have not been to
Many moons ago. I don't remember anything about the quality of the food. It's probably completely different now.
I gotta say, I was there a couple years ago. I was there for work, and there just happened to be one right by, and I'm like, you know what? I gotta go.
It's
I
always
missed
there.
out.
It's right
I
there.
missed out on my chances. It's not always there. They're wrong about that, because when I went to Houston, it was very not there. Only the drive-through was open, and we were just a couple of lads bantering about Houston romping, and they would not let us walk through the drive-through, so we were pissed. Long story short, Whataburger's not like that great. It's fine.
Which regional burger place, upscale burger place, would you say is the most hyped? In-N-Out, Whataburger, or Shake Shack?
I will say this much. In terms of quality, In-N-Out is the best of that three easily.
But you mean like from the fans? Who have the most
who has the biggest
stands?
hype beast? Yeah.
I feel like you don't hear too much about Whataburger outside of Texas people. And In-N-Out's in a few states.
They're strong. Like the Whataburger team, they're strong.
You know what really needs to be, I know it's not a burger place, but what really needs to be on this list of really hype places is Waffle House.
Yeah.
It's
there.
It's fine.
It's
any greasy spoon you've ever eaten at.
It's a fully developed menu. We were so close. I think we're missing one element, right? We have the East Coast, we have the West Coast, we have the southern border. Now we just need the northern border. But instead of a freaking delicious like Michigan special burger chain, we've got the we were so close, but we got Runza.
Runza.
Who's got the Runza?
As America Runza.
Yeah.
I was
chili
thinking...
and cinnamon roll. What the fuck?
That's
a black dynamite joke.
That's in fact an actual food in the Midwest. They will slather a cinnamon roll in chili.
That's wrong. That's wrong on numerous levels. You should not do that. And if you do that, you should stop. Get some help.
Oh my God, they ship. So a Runza it's like it's one of those northern European like peasant foods where they put meat and cabbage into a bread pocket, and all the immigrants living in Nebraska were like, we're just gonna do that again.
Okay.
And then they made it into a chain.
As a man who lives in upstate New York, the closest let's see if I can even put up a number of miles. There's not a Runza within 100 miles where I live. Show locations by state. They exist only in Colorado, Iowa, Kansas, and Nebraska.
If we put in our order, so it says I look at the shipping instructions because they ship. If we put our order in by Friday, they'll ship on Monday, and we'll get it by the next Friday. It's going FedEx ground, baby.
$165. You get a dozen sandwiches
it's a dozen sandwiches and packaging and a thing of dry ice.
And the shipping is $40. $40.
You gotta get it there fast. It's like Jimmy John's, except it takes a week.
Yeah, if you're like overnighting this to me, I could understand $40 worth of shipping. But you're not. And you're charging me $20 for the fucking box.
It's amazing.
They should not have put that cost breakdown on there.
What is Temperature Tuesday?
Oh, I should probably be showing the video audience what the hell we're talking about here.
Please.
So you said Runza. I was thinking more Culver's. But I looked at the locations.
That's a whole parallel issue. Is the chicken place that sells chicken and fries and nothing else? There's a lot of those.
Yeah, there's one right by me now. Dave's Hot Chicken.
I've had it. Those tenders are large. They're like a baby's forearm. That baby was working out.
Well, I was just thinking of burgers because like Culver's had the curder burger or something like that. The one with the big cheese curd patty that was deep fried and delicious.
Oh, that sounds delicious. I would fuck with
that. it looks really good. They're located in like, what is this? What? Oh, Indianapolis.
Question is, do they ship?
They better.
It's true.
Michigan has some. I think some. Wisconsin has some. Illinois, Ohio.
Yeah,
so.
I think I've eaten at one of those when I was in Milwaukee. That's where I was.
I see. Well, regardless,
trailers.
Trailers. They're like the Runzas of movies.
I guess.
Some would say. In the words of noted astrophysicist Buddy Holly, Runzas are the trailers.
I think you mean Elvis.
America Runzas on trailers.
Oh fuck!
Recycling my joke.
That's what we're doing here. We're eco-friendly.
Floppy seconds. I don't know where to start.
Let's start. Let's start at the bottom.
Okay, so Velma.
Oh, I was gonna say your place or mine.
Oh, all right. That's also kind of bottom. So, a reoccurring theme in this segment is the trailer that puts the whole movie in the trailer, and I think this embodies that to an alarming degree.
Yeah. So this is your rom-com for February that Netflix has put out, and the one twist is like the two love interests go to each other's house and they live. It's like a Freaky Friday, but less interesting.
Yeah. They just trade apartments.
Yeah, it's like swapping houses.
Yeah,
I remember when they did this on reality TV in the mid 2000s.
It's riveting. A crazy premise.
Trading places. Yeah.
So they take that semi-unique premise and beat it to death in the trailer. Now I'm not just talking about the plot, the overview. Like we get to see every beat of this entire movie. We may have missed a whole 2 jokes.
That's I don't know. That's probably
Ashton Kutcher has to relate to his not son, and what's her name hangs out and meets cute boys in New York City.
Reese's, not a fork.
Reese's and her fork. Yeah, she goes and meets a guy
without a fork,
and they get to do the will she choose her heart or will she choose that dick? And I swear to God, if this movie ends with them meeting at the airport or some shit, like he runs off the airport to like confess his love or whatever,
and then get fucking tackled by TSA because they left their luggage behind.
No, they're gonna be going back home and they're gonna pass each other on the planes in the air. I'm like, no. They'll yell out the window of the plane to each other.
They're gonna have a connection.
They'll open the window and the fucking cabin pressure just drops.
It turns out that was what caused the FAA outage yesterday morning. The one that the FAA was out for like an hour, and now air travel is gonna be fucked for the next like month. Just because like everything was delayed. It was bigly delayed.
Get over it.
Yeah, it's not to mention like all the shots where they have the place setting. They're like, oh, you're in New York. It's just completely green screened in there. It just doesn't even look
Mm-hmm.
right. It's very distracting. Takes you kind of out of it when you're like, oh, that's just something you got from stock
Are
footage.
you suggesting that Netflix spared expense with your place or mine? Because I don't know that I can tolerate that slander.
Yeah. Like next, you'll be telling me that the kid who's smart for his age is going to reveal the plain truth of Ashton Kutcher's love for Reese Witherspoon,
I
and
was
he's gonna,
hoping they would at least shoot on scene in New York and LA and really shut down like some street traffic.
they'll use
You know,
that one
next
alley.
next thing you're gonna tell me these aren't real houses and it's just a couple of walls and strategically placed shots so you don't have to look at the ceiling.
If we so rich, how come we don't got a ceiling?
Camera pans up.
So
Yeah.
that is the movie. Like I really did feel like I saw the entirety of the movie. The only thing they I guess left out is the ending, but it's a Netflix rom com.
I feel like
They're
everyone's seen
not.
the entirety of this movie a dozen times over as different
They're,
movies.
yeah. So I guess if you don't want to be surprised, sure, go on in and
Because
enjoy.
I'm sure your place or mine would really surprise you if you didn't watch the trailer. Feels like the story's going in some bold and unexpected directions.
Feels like the very 10th time. From there, we are going.
You can only go up from there, baby.
We're gonna get less dumb. We're gonna get sharper, like the image.
Sharper, yeah. This is a weird combination of words to summarize this trailer, but here goes anyway. This is an Apple TV Plus original movie made by A24, starring Sebastian Stan, whose parents are played by John Lithgow and Julianne Moore.
They're
This
only missing the black guy to be Childish Gambino. And then it'd be like the best ever.
Yeah. You reminded me in the trailer for Shotgun Wedding, which we're not going to talk about. Lenny Kravitz is like, he does like an action scene in it. I guess that's his cameo. He does like this little karate or whatever. But this is not that.
No.
This is Apple type TV. And I mean the plot looks interesting.
Con man trying to boost a billionaire. It could be good, and I'm sure it won't suck. But I also kind of feel like it's the kind of movie you forget about, and then when you're playing 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon or whatever, you call someone out on their bullshit that Sebastian Stan was ever in a movie with John Lithgow, and then they go to IMDb and they pull up Sharper, and you're like, the fuck
Shit.
is this movie?
Fuck.
Yeah, it just kind of seems a little thin, to be honest. Like it doesn't seem like it's going for any twists or turns. Maybe the only twist that they're trying to say is that the mother's gonna fall in love and stay with him, and then they're gonna like she's gonna rat on her son if it's actually her son. Maybe it's her
Now,
partner.
I actually kind of took a different take from this because it seemed like the messaging was very upfront, trying to say like who do you actually believe? So like in the trailer, there's the main con is like the mother is courting the millionaire mother is courting the billionaire stepdad, while the son takes the opportunity to like use that as a opportunity to fleece him by hiring one of his friends to like court the dad's estranged biological son.
I think that is what is happening, yes.
So the mom's fleecing the dad while the other lady is fleecing the son. But the other like hook is supposed to be that like some of the con men are also conning each other, or like who do you actually want to believe?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's just all a big con. Yeah.
Drama twists.
I feel like it's gonna be a lot of kind of draggy exposition and maybe some good intrigue that ultimately kind of doesn't stick the landing. That'd be my estimate for Sharper.
I feel like I'm gonna get conned into not
Buying
watch if I
Apple
watch
TV.
this.
Probably not gonna
Yeah.
watch it.
I mean, I'd rather watch.
If I hear it's
Kaleidoscope.
good, I'll watch it. But
I have other things when I get Apple TV. I have other things I want to watch on it before I get to this.
Like apples.
Sure,
I think they have an Apple documentary.
the Gala
The go-
and the old lady comedy Granny Smith.
that
You have the political thriller Northern Spy.
you be careful, Peter. Apple's gonna come for you. These are some hot ideas.
You even got adult content. I mean, Red Delicious, Pink Lady.
Oh, directed by Tyler Perry. Come on. The new Medea Apple movie, Pink Lady.
Pink Lady. If you were going to tell me that Sharper was directed by Tyler Perry, I'd be like, well, that'd just be putting it over the top in terms of what the fuck is this movie.
I wouldn't be surprised. He did Acrimony. That was like a thriller, not a heisty movie, but it was a
Acrimony is the
drama.
same as all his other fucking movies.
I've never seen a movie that wasn't Medea.
It's just lit darker.
Well, you know what I have to say to that? Velma.
Okay.
I have to say jinkies to that.
Okay. This is a trailer that I have a single reaction to. And that reaction is a series of questions.
Okay.
First one is why? Why are we making this show? The second one is for whom is the show supposed to be?
Adults. I can get that one. I can answer that one because it says Velma is an adult animated comedy series.
You see, but that description itself is a lie, because if it were a comedy series, there'd be jokes.
No, she said a joke. She said she has no brains.
Well,
Daphne
that's just an observation.
Ugh. And then Velma responds with, I'm not dissing her. She has no brain. Because the girl that fell out of the locker is discalled? Capped?
Yes. She's missing her brain, and they put a weird sensor up on it.
Oh, did you get a sensor? I don't have a sensor on it.
Yeah, I guess the one of them did. What's the uncensored version?
Just looks like a hole. It's just I don't know.
Wow.
It's a red goopy hole.
Exciting. I shared a picture. While I was just scanning through the trailer, I just took a snip. I put it on the file share link here for you.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's emblematic of the trailer. I just think it's a little goofy screen cap. This trailer is they're trying they're trying too hard in I don't know what direction. Because I don't know what they're doing with these characters, other than like we flopped it, we switched everything about them around. Are you annoyed?
Yeah.
Are you maybe a little angry about that? Or did a little trolling?
It just, if you're gonna remake a Scooby-Doo or do an adult Scooby-Doo, like, you need Scooby-Doo. Like the thing doesn't work without Scooby-Doo. Now I want Scooby to be dragged into this, obviously. I don't wish that for anyone, but it doesn't work. And this show really doesn't work because it has a 2.5 out of 10 on IMDb on the back of 1,200 ratings.
for the first 2 episodes, which are currently out.
Yeah, so
At
it's too late
time
to
of-
stop it.
Also, elephant in the room, they replaced Shaggy with Norville. And I don't really know why.
So
You kept Velma, Daphne, and Fred, but you got rid of Shaggy.
I don't know if you're joking or not, Jake. But for those of you
That's
who are not in the know,
Shaggy's real name.
Oh.
Shaggy is Norville Rogers.
Norville Rogers.
Oh.
Norville, quotation mark, Shaggy Rogers.
Because he has his one joke, or his character joke, which, you know, when you're doing that's usually a sign that you don't have a lot of material there. Like, you made the character the joke instead of the jokes they're telling. We'll see. But his character joke is that instead of Shaggy being like totally on weed, man, he's like a straight edge guy who is totally not. He hates drugs, and he's not a goof. He's very serious.
I would
Isn't
like
that
to
unexpected?
apologize to the Hollywood Foreign Press Association, to my wife. I've made a blunder, an error in
That's
not
right,
realizing.
you have one of those now.
Yes, I can say that. Okay, fine, whatever.
You know,
Just-
Jake, for that, we are going to have to punish you. We are putting you in the Scrappy Doo room for 5 whole minutes.
No, your punishment is to watch the first 2 episodes of Velma.
I'll take it. You know, whatever. I'll take it as a palate cleanser.
We'll
between
send you
my,
as our canary into the coal mine.
It'll be my palate cleanser between my nightly lashings that I'll have to give myself. You know, just self punishment. Nothing like it. There's just also, like, I don't know. We always get to this weird thing when something new comes out and it's trying to be progressive, which everybody wants, because if you just have like straight people as like the main focus, everybody's gonna mention it anyways. So when you do put like a diverse cast and you detract from the source material, it's very noticeable. But then it also kind of intensifies everything around it. Like, you see in this trailer alone, you see like multiple instances of like gay relationships in the background in this high school. So is that like going to be a consistent thing throughout the whole show, where I don't know, it just kind of like puts
I think all of that is secondary to the simple matter of this doesn't look good. It fails at whatever it's trying to achieve because it doesn't feel like it achieves anything.
But is this like a vehicle just to be progressive?
Well,
and
I think so,
Like
because
a soapbox kind of
shake it up.
deal.
I think
Yeah.
so because of the first teaser, right, where they kind of like preemptively got out in front of the criticism
Yeah.
that it was inevitably going to get, but they thought it was being criticized simply because of the changes they made, not the fact that changes were made to a IP that is a cherished childhood memory of many.
And
It's
like,
if
even then, right? I feel like people wouldn't have like minded.
No,
if the
people would have
intent-
minded.
That's fair. There are some people who would just go off on it no matter what. But it was just like the cynical. It feels cynical.
It feels pointless, moreover, to me. Like, I don't understand what's trying to be done here. Like, an irreverent take on Scooby-Doo. Again, like, you've cut out the main piece of that.
That feels like a
thing.
weird sentence in and of itself. Like, if I went back to people who watched to any other era where Scooby-Doo was coming out and people were watching it, you go, I'm gonna go for an irreverent take on Scooby-Doo. They go like, what do you mean? You just said the same thing twice. Like, Scooby-Doo was always a fairly silly kind of, like, not a goofy kind of operation, but it was at least partially
It
comedy.
was silly, yeah. There's always comedy in it.
Yeah.
I mean, it was basically it's a kid show, and there's like slapstick humor, and all the different gags with going through the doors and.
You know what this feels like to me? This feels like someone did a reboot of Scooby-Doo with the mindset of no one has watched. They watched it when they were kids, and no Scooby-Doo as media has just come out at all in the intervening years. And everyone who watched it has like a weird false idea of what the show was. When like, because I've seen that, I feel like we've seen that with other things. I don't know. I can't. I'm bad at naming examples.
I don't know when Mystery Inc. went off the air.
Makes me of like maybe I think like the Baywatch, right? Where they took the Baywatch was a thing that people kind of remember watching that, and then no Baywatch media came out until in the intervening years, and then they made the reboot movie and kind of lampooned it. This feels kind of like that to me, except there's been Scooby-Doo stuff coming out all the time.
Yeah.
Like on the regular basis. Like Mystery Inc. was like I feel lauded as like a good, really good series. And that came out like, I don't know, 5 years ago.
Yeah, it was fairly recent. And then you had the movie Scoop came out in 2020.
Which was fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But again, that was more geared towards kids. I think as
But as an adult, do you feel like this is something you want to watch?
No, probably because I mean, it's just simply the writing is there. I like the concept of like an adult Scooby-Doo that would be like a edgy comedy. I think that would work. I think that can work. It just seems like the writing and the jokes are really bad, and they took the back burner to find the most progressive cast and progressive ideas that they can for a show. And they took Mindy Kaling, who's kind of on the up and up. She like hit a peak and then kind of mellowed out a little bit.
I think her career is firmly on the downswing.
I think she's on like a bunch of background projects right now. I don't know. I don't know what she's come out with
think
recently.
That she gets a lot of work.
She gets a lot of work, but it's work that she gets a lot of her stuff made. But she's the only one that like makes stuff for herself, if that makes sense.
Mindy Kaling.
So
yeah, let's take a quick detour into the Mindy.
She did have the Mindy Project.
That was the big thing I remember.
That was the recent one.
Which she wrote.
Late night. Did she have her own late night show? I guess.
No, Late Night was a movie that she wrote for herself to star in.
Yeah.
Writer on 12. Oh, wait, here we go. Writer. So.
She did the morning show. But probably
four weddings and a funeral
featuring and stuff.
Yeah, the Mindy Project is the big one I remember.
Yeah.
But she was.
Well, she was on The Office. That's where she got her start.
Yeah.
Right.
And
then I think after that she transitioned into the Mindy Project.
Well, she created that for herself. She got it made. Credit to her. But
it lasted five years at least. I don't know how many.
So here's some of the stuff she's in. She's been in like all right, let's see, Wreck-It Ralph, Inside Out, This Is the End, the Mindy Project, A Wrinkle in Time, Ocean's 8, and then some other
a bunch of these are like bit parts though.
Yeah, I mentioned this to you before, but the show kind of just has a metallic-y taste of like something that was just pushed off of a production line that maybe she does have the writing credits, but was forced to go in certain ways. It also could just be her being. This
feels very
bad at
her
writing.
brand of humor, though.
I don't know. I don't think so.
I think this screams Mindy Kaling.
I don't think she's.
I can't say.
I have to imagine there's some sort of the awareness to the point where you can't just throw out constant garbage and accept it to go very long, especially now where people are looking at animated shows like they're nothing and canceling them. I mean, Netflix is canceling shows left and right, and I'm sure all other production companies are going to be doing the same thing unless it is.
They kept the big mouth.
especially Warner Brothers Discovery, which is broke as shit.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I mean, when you
Glenn-
have when
I
'cause,
should also
Netflix
mention,
is-
yeah, Glenn Howerton is also on the writer team for this.
Well, I think
and I,
that might just be like he's the voice of Fred, which is basically Dennis, so maybe he writes the lines for Fred, but I don't think he has too much input on the overall writing. Or maybe he's not a very good writer. Mac's the guy who writes Always Sunny, so
yeah, I don't know.
or these are just things that like are weird things that sound good on paper, and then when they animate it, it doesn't. And maybe they're not. I mean, this is also Minnie Kaling's first attempt at doing something in animation.
As in like producing something.
Producing something
is
in
she even a
animation.
producer?
Maybe I don't know, but I mean, putting something out there that is, I mean, she's definitely taking ownership of a lot of it. And a lot of the stuff I think, might work well on a in the writer's room, but
She is a
doesn't work well with
executive producer.
animation.
Okay, executive producer.
So
Not to make
this-
excuses for shit is shit.
Well, yeah,
And
no,
I think this is gonna be
but
shit.
No, this is exactly like a lot of these kinds of shows that have come out direct to streaming, where the writers, I'm sure, think it's hilarious, but it's only funny to them.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, that happens like all the time, which is a tough part about comedy. And SNL has countless stories of how they were writing something and dying on the writer's room floor, but when they went to
Probably 'cause
put it
they're
on
all
at night,
drugs and
well, it
sleep
just
deprived.
completely bombed, and they got nothing out of it, or one that they weren't even sure about putting out, but they kept breaking character because they were laughing when they were acting it out. So
I think we wasted a lot of breath on a show that didn't deserve half of it.
Sum it up. Sometimes you're a Harley Quinn animated series, and sometimes you're a Star Trek First Contact animated series.
Yeah,
I think
That's
this
a
is
good
leaning
point.
more towards the latter.
I think they're all pretty bad.
Harley Quinn is not bad.
I didn't like it. You two liked it a lot more than I did.
Well,
I did enjoy it.
man, what does it feel like to just taste salt all the time?
I have plenty of shows that I
You have-
love and enjoy.
Do you act? I mean, is your palate that dead?
No, I have a very refined palate.
Did you burn your mouth before you watched it? Like it?
No.
Did you take the menu?
It was
that
like
seriously?
okay. It was like, but you guys definitely liked it a lot more than I did. I would not hold it up as an example of great work.
Kurt, like, are you even there, God? It's me, Margaret.
Yeah, I am God. That's the takeaway from there. It's weird because, like, I just a few days ago made a joke to this effect, and here is this young woman coming of age story produced by Lionsgate, the company you would expect to handle this.
See the the very sensitive and heartwarming story here.
Well, good on them
Lionsgate.
for branching out.
That's fair. And I mean, it looks fine.
Yeah, the Judy Blume book is very popular, has been forever. And this
Is
looks like
is that a young adult kind of novel?
it's like I guess, but it's like really young. Like I'd say it's more for like preteens.
Okay, so it's not. It was something you would read in school.
Yeah,
Or, when you were of school age. Okay.
yeah. So like I would say like 3rd, 4th grade is when a lot of the girls would be reading Judy Blume.
Gotcha. All right. So
and she wrote a ton of books. This is one of her more famous ones. And this looks like a fairly faithful adaptation. It's got a pretty good cast here. You got Rachel McAdams, you got Kathy Bates, child actress who I've never seen anything from, but she didn't seem
I think
bad.
This is like her debut.
Yeah, she seemed okay.
Or something.
It seems like you can get a lot of kid actors that are going to be like making their name from this, and you're going to see, this character this actor from Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret. Maybe they'll have a breakout role.
Sure. So you'll read the book and then they'll put the movie on in class.
I don't think that this is a movie they're going to put on in class.
It definitely, definitely for like younger audiences. I thought it kind of was more geared towards like not necessarily PG, but like maybe even PG-13, even though it's about like teens. I don't know. I know how weird people can get about. I don't know when Turning Red came out, and that was kind of geared.
Rated?
That was
rated
PG,
right?
yeah. But that was like geared towards these preteen ages, and I don't know. Adults got weird about their kids watching something about teaching them about
punctuation
puberty and hormones and periods and it was they got all weird about it. It's like let the movies and books do the work for you. Do you really want to
let
sit
the
down
media
and...
raise your child?
Yeah, what are you complaining about? You don't got to talk to him about this shit. What are you going to tell him the opposite? Great. No, you're fucking strange for bleeding out your cooch.
I mean, that is pretty fucking accurate though. Like I never got the talk. I just kind of picked things up and
we were we were raised amongst catalogs.
I was raised on the internet. That. Yeah, I mean, hell, I found out what Ookie Cookie was the hard way. You know, it happens to the best of us. Sometimes
you also watched Pizza Time, Jake.
Who hasn't clicked the Metaspin link?
Sailed on the high goat seas.
Yeah, everybody's like, what's wrong with this generation? It's like we were given unfettered access to the internet.
To the early stages of the internet when we were still figuring that shit out.
There were like beheadings like thrown up there willy-nilly, and the
whole internet was like what 4chan is now.
Adults didn't know what Live Leak was.
They didn't know what the Pain Olympics were. Okay. They were just people, one person and one object, multiple something person, something objects, videos like, going out there all crazy like.
I'm out of touch with the youth now. Do kids even know what 2 Girls 1 Cup is?
Probably not. I mean, they probably heard of it, but
I remember when that first like hit the media, hit the mainstream.
Yeah, that penetrated the zeitgeist.
I was scarring all my friends with that video. And then 7-8 years later, when the one I missed, One Guy One Cup, like somehow resurfaced in college. Yeah, one jar. Resurfaced in college. Thanks, Dave. Appreciate that one. Didn't need to see that.
Well, someone tried to get me to watch that. I was like, absolutely not.
The sounds enough will send you through a spiral.
So yes, your kids are ready for reading Judy Blume.
Kids are more resilient than you think. You're the parent. You should know. You drop them.
This movie's been trying to...
So I saw all this stuff, and I turned out fine.
Yeah, I'm not going to say I don't have
The skeletons
issues.
in my closet get their calcium every day. We're all good here.
I mean, I've got some issues, but overall, I'm fine.
That wasn't the internet's fault, right?
No. Well, not acutely. There's some other stuff there. I cannot find the MPAA. I don't think has rated it yet. I spent all that time looking for a rating. Nothing.
Well, if you show this to your kid and their name is Bo, and he turns out to be afraid, hey, that's not on us. But what is on us is Bo is Afraid. New movie by Ari Aster. I'm not going to spend much time on it because I don't even know what the fuck's going on. I just know the guy, this old guy, is getting a call from his mom. He's going to go visit her. He lives in this world that's very dangerous, but I'm sure we're seeing it from his perspective, and he's like a
hypochondriac kind of guy.
Yeah, it's got to be some allegory for mental illness.
Yeah, it gets trippy throughout the movie. They do some animated scenes, some costume stuff. There's
Nathan Lane radiating peak dad energy.
Yeah. Yeah, it's got a good cast though. I'm liking that. So, looks artsy fartsy, but might have a cool twist. Now, Ari Aster is a guy who did like Midsummer and
Yeah, he
Hereditary.
directed a movie called Bo in 2011. It's
This
a
is
short.
spiritual sequel.
I'm trying to look. I mean, it might be. Okay, so Bo is a 7-minute short film. And here's the synopsis. See if this checks out. A neurotic middle-aged man's trip to visit his mother is delayed indefinitely when his keys are mysteriously taken from his door. He is subsequently haunted by an increasingly sinister chain of upsetting events. Although it's not made apparent in the film, it should be said that Bo once used a Ouija board.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah, no, so okay. This is just like the expansion of his original like
Yes, it's the
passion
Yeah.
project
realization
vision.
of his original vision here, I think.
yeah.
Cool. I mean, that's always good to see from someone who's done good work, And usually it's not like the transcendent experience that everyone hopes it will be in these cases, but it's usually pretty good.
A lot of the times, and I can speak from experience on this, as someone who's put stuff out on film before. Nothing anyone will have ever seen, but
No,
you
I'll
have
go
this
back and watch those Kotor
fondness
reviews.
to some of your original works, and you're like, yeah, I should remake this, or yeah, I should put some money and try to make this be all that it could be. When in reality, the concept isn't as strong as you feel it is.
Mm-hmm. But we'll see if Take Out Thunderbird can really drive it home.
Yeah. Take out
Yeah.
Thunderbird.
Walking Phoenix. I was call him Walking. I don't like Walk. I don't like his name.
Walking Phoenix would be a
seems-
sweet name.
I mean, he was great in Joe Carr. And I guess he
Mhm.
found some free time between that and Joker too. So, we'll see how he is in this.
We'll see if Joker.
Walking Phoenix is the Mind Goblin.
The one thing, and this is not gonna affect anybody, and whatever. This looks crazy. He looks crazy similar to my mom's best friend's husband, who was at the wedding, and I just see him in every scene. I'm like, Joe or Jim. Jim, is that you? So that's a little side note.
You see his face in window panes.
I was like, what are you doing here?
We'll briefly touch upon Ant-Man and the Wasp final trailer. We get 19 frames of MODOK.
Yeah,
And-
MODOK's in this baby.
And that's about it.
Yeah, we got a little bit of some Kang stuff. He's probably gonna kill Ant-Man. This, just be warned. Nice little wrap up to our Ant-Man story, and maybe we'll see how it connects to
Good old
the Shang-Chi rings.
Lou. He reveals his first name is Lou.
Liu Kang.
Good old Louis Kang. That's trailers.
Yeah. Trailers. Let's move now to lay follow up. And here's a look at weekend 1 box office covering January 6th through the 8th of 2023. Avatar, Way of the Water, still on top in first place in its 4th week, down 32%. So not a huge drop-off. It somehow managed to open in 138 more theaters. Doesn't seem like that should have been possible, but here we are.
Every single device capable of showing video in America.
Yeah, got to be some more pop-up theaters or something. 1.752 billion. So it was at 1.5 billion last week. It seems like it's slowing down a little bit. We'll see. Last week I was very confident it hit the 2 billion. Now I'm sure it'll eventually get there, but I think it might take a while. And I think it's kind of troubling that a movie like Megan could open in seconds so close to its total, as other movies that people want to see open, Avatar might struggle to retain relevance.
Yeah, and Megan might put up a good fight for the second week. It's probably unlikely, but I have heard a lot of good buzz around Megan, and that movie has been advertised out the tits. It is
Oh, yeah.
everywhere.
Yeah, they really pushed the adverts on that.
And
Which I mean, it worked out for week one.
Yeah, it was a strong
Pretty good.
opening.
And a side note on this, like, it's really interesting how, just an overview, like, it's interesting how January and February have kind of become the secondary season for horror movies. You
Yeah,
know,
I
because
mean,
there were a couple horror trailers that we didn't talk about.
I think it's
This
just
week.
an easy way to plug a hole in your release calendar.
Mm-hmm.
They're pretty quick to make. They're not very expensive to make. And if you market it correctly, you can make a lot of money.
Right.
Yeah, I'd like to go back and look at some like random movies here and there that might have been released in January and February that may have gotten.
Like I
Was
think
was Saw always a Halloween release?
I
It
don't
felt
know
Yeah.
like
about
it
Saw,
was.
but I know a couple of years ago,
Like
the Curse of La Llorona.
Rona, the Bye Bye Man,
Yeah, I think these were
um,
those were all January movies.
just Blumhouse stuff
Yeah.
in general.
Well, that's all Blumhouse puts out. That's an all the year thing for Blumhouse.
Yeah.
Oh, what was I watching? I think Vengeance, the movie we're reviewing today, was produced by Jason Blum or something like that. He
Mhm.
had some credit on it.
Yeah, Blumhouse was in the opening credits for the movie. So they were involved with that too.
Branching out.
Yeah, speaking of Megan,
Yeah, Megan bringing in
it's Megan all over everything.
$42 million in 3,500 theaters, 8,000 per theater average take for Universal Studios. Another Universal Studios movie, some own goal action here.
Yep.
Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. Very strong week over week numbers, only down 19.5%, despite leaving 200 theaters. Good enough for $13.5 million. That brings its worldwide total to $204 million. That's
It's got some.
more than I would have predicted.
Yeah, I guess it matches. Like I think the positive reviews and the word of mouth actually did something for the
Well,
uh,
it's
for the
interesting to me
attendance
because
there.
I think yes, it is. It is available on demand. It was day and date on demand, but it is like you gotta pay $25 for it. It was one of those.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking at the price right now. I don't know why. Oh, there's an AMC in Saratoga Springs. That's interesting.
Time to revive that pass.
Well, it's not worth the trip up to Saratoga Springs every time I want to see a movie for the better deal that is Stubbs
No,
A-list.
I mean that does make sense for the area though.
Yeah.
Ah.
And in fourth, in its second week, hitting a wider release. Still not really a wide release. So I think this bodes very well for the general interest in this movie. A Man Called Otto jumping up into fourth with $4.2 million up.
I always love the relative increase on these.
Yeah, 7,300%. But still only in 637 theaters. So that's a 6,500 per theater take. That's respectable. I think that shows real interest in this movie. And we're gonna go and hear from some real reviewers to see why that might be the case.
Some people called reviewers.
Yeah, we got some real reviewers. We got all our friends in the IMDb user review section. They're not actually our friends because these people are incapable of friendships.
No.
They're too dedicated to their work. Critically, bit of a mixed positive bag. It's got a 69% fresh rating on Rotten Tomatoes, 7.4 out of 10 IMDb, a 4.5 audience rating on Google. Some pretty scattered reception, but overall positive, it would seem. But none of that matters because, as you all know, the only people that matter in this world are the people who care enough about movies to post on IMDb. And
That's right.
boy, are there some real characters on this website.
Our enduring chronicle.
Yeah. We're really charting the human genome here.
It's the four. It's the four bases: I, M, D, and B.
23 and IMD.
Like they zoomed in on they zoomed in on the chromosomes, and instead of the double helix, it was just a film reel twisted.
We knew it. Our theories were correct.
And who better?
Who better than Cam Cook to start us off here? I love it when it's just like a regular ass name.
Some dude.
10 out of 10. Hilarious, emotional, gripping. I didn't watch a trailer before seeing this. I haven't read the book, and I didn't see the original A Man Called Ove film from 2016. This film resonated with me more than any other film I've seen. When I see films at the cinema, I'm usually leaving, talking to my partner about details of the film and what she thought. But today, I left in silence and almost in shock of how much emotion, darkness, and truth was in the story. I laughed, I cried, I'm inspired. The performances from the leads are all excellent. The carefully placed comedic and emotional scenes complement each other perfectly, and the writing, direction, and cinematography, ding, 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 ding,
got a winner, baby.
were all executed so well, you feel like a fly on the wall of a documentary. Thank you to everyone who worked on this film for their pure artistry, from the director of photography, and actors to the runners, PAs, and craft services. Thank you.
I'm so glad you went for the Obama at the end there.
19 out of 29.
I'd like to.
I was doing like a hybrid of Obama and Plinkett there. That was the goal.
Side note: Jake just discovered Red Letter Media this week. I'm sure he's gone through a fucking epiphany.
It's really cool. You should check them out. They're this hot new
this
thing.
Little YouTube channel.
Yeah, little YouTube channel. I just discovered they're not putting a whole lot out, and they don't have a whole lot in the catalog.
No,
they review a couple movies here and there.
Very recent.
And they're quick little bits. You know, if you got an hour and a half or so. Yeah. Big bites. That's right. I forgot what I started watching them on. Anyways,
I think it was Star Wars. It's got to be Star Wars content, right? That's
I was too busy to read that text chain.
Yeah, it might have been Star Wars. I know I've watched a lot of their Star Wars stuff. That's why I got like all crazy on one. But I watched some review. I forgot what it was. Might have been like their top movies of 2023. Good background listening. Anyways, I'm gonna do my best or worst. I'll let you decide.
Best of the worst.
Swedish/Viking accent. Watch a Man Called Ove instead, by Obedientian. A Man Called Ove was a great movie. It didn't need a US remake. Tom Hanks is a great actor. This is all over the place, but he's not grumpy enough.
Push through.
If Americans can read subtitles, remake the movie with the original exact plot. No, this fucking go. You gotta harness my inner ding durgan. As in Saturn Sweden, the best jokes were all destroyed. They missed the rivalry between Saab and Volvo. No. This hybrid nonsense is not the same. Odd that the clown was girl in the Swedish version. Ove was also doesn't get arrested, etc. Why not leave it as Ove too, not Otto? That's German. Stalin Skarsgård would have made a good main character instead. They did stay true to some of the story, which was at least good, but they did manage to spoil all the main jokes. 7 out of 17 found that helpful.
You got through it.
I think there's probably some insight in there, but I could not permeate that accent.
Look, all these 1 out of 10s are going to be the same fucking thing. It wasn't as good as the original. Why was it Tom Hanks? Oh, I want Swedish
Because
man.
Walter Matthau is dead.
He's got a Now that there's no Walter Matthau in the hive, the metamorphosis begins, and we have this is what we have now. Just like we have this 5 out of 10 from I Am Sieg. We got this 5 out of 10. Bland, unoriginal. Sorry, but it honestly didn't touch me. The bad. Tom Hanks is being miscast as a depressed, grumpy old man. It is not his inherent usual Tom Hanks charisma. And even worse, he does not perform this grumpy character very well. Not terrible, it's still Tom Hanks performing, but it's rather one-dimensional and not credible, unfortunately. More bad, this story is so predictable, and it's so politically correct. You'll understand what I mean by that if you decide to see it. And there is no spark or punch. Bummer. I have absolutely loved many other movies by this brilliant director, Mark Foster, but this one didn't touch me much at all. Not bad, just rather bland and going through the motions. The story? Tom Hanks is depressed and alone and grumpy and old, and he wants to kill himself. New neighbors liven up his life to such a degree that he finds joy in life again. Yawn. 8 out of 18 found that helpful.
All right.
Yeah.
He seemed a little preoccupied with the fact that the movie didn't touch him. He does realize that that's not typically a thing that a movie can do.
Touching all over. Just touching all over.
Just the movie didn't touch me. Really, I feel like he's a guy who went to this movie with like a date and was upset that the popcorn trick didn't work, and he's trying to like make that a euphemism in this review.
Yeah, this movie didn't touch me at all.
Man, I really wish this movie would have touched me. All right, from James
Cameron?
James
God.
Milithran Grace. James. We'll call him James. 10 out of 10. Man called Otto. Rushed back home to check IMDb. After viewing, I rushed home to check IMDb and was shocked to see reviews of 1 and 1, 1 and 5. After reading those reviews, it was plain to see they were comparing the old to the new and had no effect on my thoughts about the movie. Okay, good. Be your own man. I loved it. What a way to start 2023. Tom Hanks was sensational, playing a part that he normally doesn't play. The majority of the comedy was coming from his co-stars. Marina Trevino was gorgeous in her role and brought light to a very dark subject. The way the story was told allowed the viewer to guess what was going on and match their thoughts to the real story. When the story is finally revealed, I guarantee G-A-R-U-N-T-E-E. Guarantee.
I guarantee.
Guarantee you will shed a tear. Well done, Tom, and the rest of the cast. 9 out of 16. Found that helpful.
It's the Charles Barkley review. I guarantee you're going to shed a tear.
Guarantee it.
1 out of 10 from the book of Sean Patrick's, chapter 518, verse 150,814.
Been a while since we had a Bible verse on this show.
Right from the 518 too.
Not awesome at all. I could do the entire thing.
Please don't.
I could channel my
take
inner. We'll be here
forever.
all night.
Jake's about to deliver the fucking homily of the night.
We're trying to go through this.
The original is by far more superior than this wannabe remake. Perhaps it was the casting of Hanks that made the remake not good. I haven't liked anything he's been in since Road to Perdition 2002. Cloud Atlas 2012 was a great movie, but I didn't feel his role in it did it much justice.
Every
I
10 years,
loved-
a movie comes out.
Every 10 years, Tom Hanks does something good. I loved the original movie, and I thought I would give this a try, but nope, just not for me. And I just can't connect with his character. It just doesn't work. Totally a forgettable film, which makes me appreciate the original even more. However, if you are a Tom Hanks fan with limited range in life as his acting, you'll probably enjoy this. Do yourself a favor and watch the original. 19 out of 53 found that helpful.
Dude, this director, Mark Foster, I looked him up after the Touch movie Didn't Touch Me guy. What a strange filmography this man has as a director.
What's he got?
Everything Put Together, Monsters Ball, Finding Netherland, Stay, Stranger Than Fiction, The Kite Runner, Quantum of Solace, LX40, Machine Gun Preacher, World War Z, All I See Is You, The Receipt, Lost and Found, Christopher Robin, and A Man Called Otto.
Okay. Yeah, interesting.
Not a lot of these were good.
He's just kind of wandering around.
But some of
Hollywood.
them actually were quite good. Like Stranger Than Fiction was really good. I never saw
That one
The
also
Kite
had
Runner.
Tom Hanks, didn't it?
No,
it
Will
was Bill
Ferrell was the
Will
lead in that
Ferrell.
one.
Yes, okay.
Yeah, Will Ferrell, Maggie Gyllenhaal, Dustin Hoffman.
Should we go back and watch that?
Yeah, we should.
Not a bad one. Yeah, wild. What's even more wild is we have this 6 out of 10 review on January 6th from Ferguson 6. He's here.
Triple sixes overload. It's the mark of the beast.
654. He's at his most powerful. So I have to. I was with the slim pickings on these reviews. I was almost ready to suggest something else, but I saw this and like you can't.
Peter,
cannot.
I want you to realize before you read this review that this feels like some sort of it feels like the stars have aligned on an occult ritual, and you might summon Ferguson 6 into your apartment. So just be prepared.
Okay.
He sounds like a cat.
It doesn't. It never hurts when his first line of every review is "Greetings again from the darkness."
It's because he just sits in a dark room all day watching movies.
He is Cthulhu, the Dark Lord.
Regardless, his 6 out of 10 review. People do change. Greetings again from the darkness. Grumpy people are everywhere these days. In fact, 2-time Oscar winner and all-around likable guy Tom Hanks, Forrest Gump, Philadelphia, may be the only one who catches us off guard when he's grumpy. Here, Hanks plays Otto, the neighborhood curmudgeon who patrols the community daily drenched in full-fledged annoyance over topics like pets, recycling, traffic, and parking. In fact, Otto is annoyed by most people and just about everything they do. And these days, who amongst us isn't? This film is an American remake of the Oscar-nominated Swedish film A Man Called Ove, 2015. Ove, which featured a terrific titular performance from Rolf Lassgård. Both films have been adapted from Fredrik Backman's novel A Man Called Ove, with writer-director Hannes Holm behind the 2015 version, and screenwriter David McGee, Life of Pi, 2012, and director Mark Forster driving this one. Mr. Forster has previously directed some interesting and diverse movies, including Monsters Ball, 2001, Finding Neverland, 2004, Stranger Than Fiction, 2006, The Kite Runner, 2007, Quantum of Solace, 2008, World War Z, 2013, and Christopher Robin, 2018. He's on the wavelength, baby. He's with us. And is he in the room with me? Is that you? We join Otto on his morning rounds, and that's when we witness his constant annoyance on display, while also meeting some of his neighbors, like Jimmy, the friendly power walker, played by Cameron Britton, as well as the ultra-friendly new neighbors, very pregnant Marisol, Mariana Trevino, and her husband Tommy, Manuel Garcia Rufo, and their herd of young kids. There is also Otto's estranged friend Reuben, Peter Lawson Jones, who is now very sick. His wife Anita, Juanita Jennings, and Malcolm, Mac Bida, a local boy whose parents kicked him out because he's transgender. Malcolm has a connection to Otto's late wife, and it's her passing that has not only caused Otto's personality to shift into grump mode, but also pushed him to explore ways to join her in a better place, although he can't quite manage the next step. Marisol is really the major force in the story, as her unrelenting friendliness and persistence in connecting with Otto slowly breaks down his defense as he finds a reason to live. Director Forster uses flashbacks to help us understand Otto's background. Hank's own son, Truman Hanks, plays him as a young Otto, while Rachel Keller portrays a young Sonia, the girl that wins his heart. A devastating personal tragedy can certainly impact a person to the point where their personality and outlook changes. However, we also see how a positive influence, here with Marisol, can help pull someone out of a dark emotional hole. Tom Hanks, coming off his roles as Colonel Tom Parker in Elvis and Geppetto in Pinocchio, is so familiar to moviegoers that it's comical to see him go full grump, although it should be noted that he's more Walter Matthau in Bad News Bears or Grumpy Old Men, 1976
I mean,
and
do I know what
93.
I'm talking about? All right, I got a confession on Ferguson 6.
he's this is the reveal. It's the face reveal. He's more Walter Matthau in these than he is Clint Eastwood growling "Get off my lawn" in Gran Torino,
I
2008.
love that movie. The old racist man's the hero.
Powerful. In other words, despite some similarities to About Schmidt, 2002, the film is never quite as dark as it portends, even with Otto's congenital heart issue and the redevelopment threats from the perfectly named Die in America real estate company. This is designed and presented as a sentimental mainstream film that is easily relatable, and it will undoubtedly have that appeal. Opens in theaters January 6th, 2023. 4 out of 5. Underappreciated.
The man is...
He works tirelessly.
He does. He works so hard. He works so hard
Big
for
Ferg.
his money.
Props to the Ferg.
Props to the Ferg.
He's Fergalicious.
He's Fergalicious. Black Panther: Wakanda Forever finds itself in 5th with $3.5 million in its 9th week. Whitney Houston, I Want to Dance with Somebody is dropping down here 2 spots, finding itself in 6th. In its 3rd week, $2.4 million for that. The Whale continues the rollout to more and more theaters. Darren Aronofsky's latest movie. We learned recently that this was a Darren Aronofsky movie after I watched Requiem for a Dream and saw it on his IMDb page. I'm less excited about this movie now. But that went up 9.4% in 212 more theaters. Babylon finds itself in 8th, down 3 spots in its 3rd week out of 970 theaters, so they're pushing this one out.
Yep.
I'll watch this one at home, but I was not going to go and watch a 3-hour, 9-minute movie after watching Avatar so recently.
Go watch it get drunk and watch it on Paramount Plus.
$14 million domestically, $761 internationally.
Shout out to the one theater that fucking had that showing.
Yeah. The one night, probably, too.
Yeah. Speaking of nights, Violent Night in more than one night in its 6th week.
It's still in like 2,000 theaters. Like, we're way past the Christmas wave that it was riding.
Side note, what's your all's Christmas cutoff?
Oh,
when does the Christmas season end? When does the holiday season end for you? And you're like, it's back to real life.
Like end of the first week of January.
Yeah, I'm probably the same. I'm stretching it right now because we still got our lights up, so we haven't had a chance to.
Trees down. I had to fucking pull that tree. I had to like fucking deadlift this tree up through the small hole that leads to my attic.
Yeah. Oh, I thought, you know what? You fooled me. I thought it was a natural tree.
No, it's fake as shit.
I guess I missed that one.
Them,
Yeah, no,
them
I
fake
always
trees are good. They
Yes.
look
I
real.
would prefer a real tree because then I would just have to throw it out on the street and not have to fucking deadlift it while precariously balanced in my attic.
And you gotta clean it up, and you risk bringing in
all
Christmas
those
spiders and
Kurt, you gotta sweep all those needles off the ground from your fake tree. Yeah, no, it's always for me. It's like it's specifically the 5th because I have a family member's birthday that day.
Mm.
But yeah, I'm gonna keep the lights. I'm not gonna keep them like in the window. I'm gonna move them around because now I have like lights and I can submit my apartment to r/cozy places.
Yeah.
Because as we all know that it's just pictures of regular houses, but they have fairy lights up.
Yes.
Well, we have to decorate for Martin Luther King Day, so now we have to get that ready. Put up all of our decorations for that, and our statue of MLK.
Jake, let's just quit. Well,
And,
we're not far behind.
What? We're remembering the man.
Like you have, like Jake, do you have like the Virgin Mary statuette on one side and you turn it around and it's MLK?
Similar to how we had at our wedding, yeah. We pray to it.
No, I never took a good look at it. At the other side, it was famous civil rights leader.
There's actually a funny story to that. So not to get sidetracked, but like after the wedding, like I don't know, we just like the priest was like, I got places to be, so he dipped. We were taking pictures with it, and like we were wanting it in the background, and he was like, I'm going, bye. And we left it there.
Maybe if he didn't spend so much time on his homily, he wouldn't have been in such a rush to get out there.
Don't get me fucking started with that guy. I told him 30 minutes and he lied. But we wanted the Mary statue as decoration, and it's his. It didn't belong to us. It was his. He brought it. So we're like, what do we do with it? So it was like late at night, and my father-in-law is like freaking out. He's like, somebody better go outside. Like it's all alone out there. We're like, what, the statue?
You have to take the Virgin Mary down when the sun goes down, right?
We should put her somewhere. We don't want her there out all night. And I'm like, it's not going anywhere.
You realize
it's like, I'm going to go out and get it in my
statue,
car.
right? It's what we might call an effigy.
I think he was just concerned that somebody was going to come by and be a Virgin Mary.
Who's going to steal the Virgin Mary? Like,
you never know. They go for
I'm not religious, and I'm pretty sure that would send me straight to hell.
Yeah, right. There was just
kids,
made a whole big.
There's the young hooligans are like, I'm gonna take the virginity.
So
she's not gonna be a virgin when I'm done with her.
She ended up going home with them, and it was like kind of Corduroy's adventure. We take like the stuffed bear and try to. So
I do know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
they wrote a little story with her, and she visited my in-laws for a little while, and they eventually dropped her off with the priest back home.
You say dropped off like they just left her on his doorstep.
We went to a fire department.
Bag.
Left it in a fire department in a little basket.
Threw it at a Waffle House waitress.
Yeah, she ninjas it back at you like a shuriken. You gotta watch out for those Waffle House employees.
They know how to parry.
Yeah. I would, you know what? Waffle House employee sent to hospital with Virgin Mary induced injuries is a Florida headline.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I was like, only in Florida.
that screams Florida very loudly. Yes. Rounding out the top 10 here is the menu, which is available on HBO Max. Do not spend money to go to the theater and see it now. $685,000.
I've seen so many TikToks of the menu. I feel like I've already seen it.
It's pretty good, but
yeah, I gotta watch it. It looks good.
It's not the world's greatest.
It's all been spoiled for me for the most part, but I'm okay with that.
There's not too many surprises, I don't think.
But what happens to the girl after she eats the burger? She's gonna die. I think she dies.
Definitely, because that's the theme of that movie.
You're actually completely wrong. She's the only one who doesn't die.
So there is a theory that she does die.
Well, that theory is wrong.
Well, the burger that she eats is from possibly like tainted meat because they said in the beginning that they dry age their beef, and if it's left out there for like one extra day, it gets like the bacteria that'll kill you. And they're theorizing that like even though she escaped, he still gave her like tainted meat, and she'll die if she eats it.
But that
I don't know if that's
would
100% true or
invalidate
not.
the entire purpose of the scene.
Yeah,
So I'm going to go with probably not.
I think she dies. I think she just dies.
I mean, eventually, yes.
I think she'll die
In about 50 years.
because of that burger. She wanted a burger.
Oh, I gotta go watch The Men Who Stare at Goats again. So good.
He died. Like
70 years.
25 years later of cancer, but
Oh, yeah, that's the follow-up.
yep, let's talk gaming news briefly. Steam set a new concurrent user record this week with 33 million people playing games all at once,
Wowzers.
or at least online. 10 million people playing at the same time. I don't know how they tabulate that as difference. Okay, so yeah. There were 33 million concurrent users logged into Steam. Eurogamer is reporting that there were 10.2 million people actively playing something on January 8th. For the first time, the platform surpassed 10 million concurrent active users. So PC gaming is growing despite the GPU industry being in such a it's so crazy to look at like the CPU market and how competitive that is, and how there's a lot of really great products that make sense at a variety of budget levels, juxtaposed against the GPU market where it's just a fucking barren wasteland.
Stagnant. Just starving.
Microsoft is reportedly planning to invest $10 billion into the creator of ChatGPT and DALL-E, signaling that they are getting ready to deep dive into AI.
Oh boy.
Lord help us.
Better than NFTs, I guess. It just reminded me of like now everybody's focused on their new AI kind of thing that's coming out. And it just reminds me of like when everybody was all about crazy about NFTs.
It's the wave of
Wanted
the
to
future.
introduce those into video games and whatnot. No, it's kind of fallen by the wayside.
So now instead of they've replaced NFTs with code that doesn't work. May have repeated myself there. Zing. Yeah.
High on Life, Rick and Morty, and Solar Opposites creator Justin Roiland is being charged with felony domestic violence and false imprisonment, also known as kidnapping.
Locking him in the basement.
You know, it happens. He just got too into his character. He was too into High on Life character.
You're telling me that the guy who created the character of Rick Sanchez may have had a violent streak? Nah.
Him and Dan Harmon both are, how do I put this delicately, fucking nutcases. So I'm not exactly surprised.
I will say,
and not in the fun way, like Matt Stone and Trey Parker, where they'll just take acid and go to their own award show high and dressed up in like lady dresses.
I will say Dan Harmon had one of the better apologies for what he did, and I think a lot of even some of his victims that were a part of the sexual assault allegations.
I didn't
came
even
out
know
and
he
said,
had allegations. I just know he's a fucking
oh.
nut job from his podcast.
Oh no, Dan Harmon was like the first one to like, not the first one, but he was like of the people he would like least expect. He was one of the big ones that got taken down pretty heavily by sexual assault allegations. Like got fired, I think, because it was in the workplace, I believe, and with coworkers that he would put them in really uncomfortable situations and ask them out, and to the point where I think like he would use like sex toys on them or something like that in very inappropriate ways. It got pretty fucked up.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's super fucked.
Well, that sounds like a
Um,
Quentin Tarantino set. Apparently, if you fall asleep on set in a Tarantino movie, he has this giant fucking dildo that he'll shove in your face and take a picture of you.
huh. That's
And
good.
yet, this man has not been canceled.
You just got to make better movies, Dan Harmon. Come on. But yeah, I guess the way he apologized was like the poster apology of how to apologize.
So you've been implicated in an online scandal and also criminal.
I mean,
Criminal
seriously, you can there are people on YouTube who've like broken it down into like step 1, got to do this, take accountability. Step 2, acknowledge you have fault. Step 3, like apologize to
like
the
the
victims
reverse
and
dentist system.
focus on them. Step
That's
4,
what happens when you get caught practicing the first dentist system.
how you plan on moving forward. Exactly. Yeah, you could honestly juxtapose the two and be like, so the dentist system failed, and now you have to apologize. Try the Dan method.
Genesis does
Demonstrate
what
accountability.
Nintendo Genesis Genesis what Nintendo
The Dan method.
I feel
Demonstrate
like you're having a
accountability.
stroke.
A, apologize to your victims. N,
and
not do it again.
no more trouble. It's all done. It's
Just
over.
disappear for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess he had been arrested and got out on $50,000 bond, got a restraining order filed against him and a court order to relinquish any firearms in his possession.
Good. Does that count the funny little bug guns he has in as the models for High on Life?
I don't know. I just
the game with
downloaded
a
High on
whopping
Life.
9 hours of content that
Yeah.
sells for $60.
Thanks, Game Pass. Get
Jeez.
to try out that without committing to it. All right, and lastly, the Borderlands movie. Remember that thing that's coming out?
Oh, yeah.
Totally.
Welp, it's in some hot water. They're going back for reshoots after changing directors late into production.
That's
Can
never
only mean
been
good things.
a death sentence.
That's always gone so well before.
Yeah, who knew? Well, yeah, who knew that Gearbox may have not made the best narrative experience?
Well,
I went back to play. I was feeling in the mood, so I went back to play Borderlands 3 again, and man, it is a lot of talking.
yeah, it was very, very dialogue heavy, more so than the other two.
They just babble on, and I'm like, I want to go to the next quest, please.
Please and thank.
Let me do shooty. So
Yeah,
that's
so the Deadpool director has taken over, and they're going back in for reshoots, which sounds an awful lot like Justice League. So,
yep.
It had such a can't miss cast, including Kevin Hart as Roland. So, yeah, kind of doomed from the start, it felt like. But life goes on, just like the show goes on. And we talk about Vengence, a little movie you probably forgot about because it didn't have a long theatrical run. But it's coming to Amazon Prime on the 16th of this month. So you got that going.
It's already on Peacock.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah.
Peacock?
That's where I watch it.
Peacock. Poppycock.
Mr. Poppycock.
Yes.
BJ Novak is the fanatic.
BJ Novak, famous for being, I think, the character's name is Ryan on The Office.
Yeah.
Yes.
And very little else.
Yeah, he does a lot of. Well, did he do writing? I think he did writing for The Office as well.
Well, he wrote this
in the
movie.
background.
This is his, I believe, his directorial debut. He's the writer-director of this movie. and Star. So he's Tommy Wiseau in it.
Just hot wise in it. Yeah, in this movie, it was okay.
I thought it was pretty good. I think it kind of had ebbs and flows to how interesting it was, and it did not peak at. It does not go out at the peak of that.
Yeah. I think what the thing is for me, like it solidly lands in the mid category for me, and I think what stopped me from enjoying it more was that it felt like, I don't know, it just felt like it was kind of trying to go in two directions. One being like a kind of dry comedy kind of deal, and then on the other hand, trying to be a heartwarming drama kind of thing, or like a kind of an indie drama kind of feeling. And I think it leaned more towards the drama than towards the comedy. And I think it's there. It just needed to, for me, I wanted it to be a little tighter.
Yeah, I will say that I think the more interesting part of the movie wasn't like, I don't want to say it wasn't the main part, because I think the major like progression point is the podcast he's doing. And I think some of the sort of metatextual elements of the like analyzing the differences between the different parts of the country, and kind of realizing some truths about us as a whole country, and we're not so different. We just have different situations we're in, and all that, and kind of the culture shock, fish out of water stuff. All that was really good, but at the end of the movie, it became kind of like, oh, we got to wrap up this mystery, and we don't really do it in a super satisfying way. And then the main character does something that's pretty
Way
out of character.
Yep.
And it kind of sucks, because I was really enjoying the movie up to that point, and like, I can forgive it. I would still recommend this movie to someone, because it does a lot of things really well. I just feel like it kind of misses the payoff. But the cast is really good. The acting is superb.
For sure.
Everyone brings it.
Yeah, that's probably what surprised me the most was the acting. A lot of not greatly well known. I mean, the two main people who is Ashton Kutcher and BJ Novak, who honestly, I mean, those are the two main people who do put on a pretty good performance.
I know Boyd Holbrook,
but the supporting people were excellent. I think the thing that caught me off guard, because it was a pretty good watch, was kind of the jostling around when they do all the twists. They kind of lead you down one path to say, okay, here's what the twist is probably going to be, and they lead you towards it, and then they kind of do pull it in that way, and then they jerk it back the other way, and then they jerk it back the other way. Like all within like the last 10-20 minutes of the movie. You're kind of put through two loop-de-loops of critical decisions that could leave the movie either in a pretty okay satisfying, or maybe I liked it the other way, because like I saw where you were going with it the other way.
It
That would have
almost
been better just there.
It almost feels like, as he was writing it, he had like 4 different endings to it.
Yeah.
And he couldn't decide which one he liked best, and tried to incorporate elements from all of them.
It's like I'm at the end of Cyberpunk right now, and I understand there's multiple different endings to it. I just imagine this is how it would be if I got to do all the endings to Cyberpunk in one playthrough.
Which
And-
I mean, while we're on the subject, which ending are you going for?
I mean, I went with Corpo as the thing, and then I don't know. I didn't ask for help, so I kind of went with Solo, and then
Mhm.
also I got rid of Johnny, and I got sent back to Earth. I guess that's the. I didn't get put
Wow.
in the yeah.
In the test chamber.
I don't know if I like my ending.
Yeah,
Corpo ending is not a great one.
my ending, I did the going with Pan Am and the the
Nomads.
armadillos.
Yeah.
And like the ending itself was fine and fairly satisfactory, but like the as the credits are rolling, kind of like the cutscenes were like super fucking depressing.
Oh. I
I get
know.
that. Yeah, I get that. Anyways, yeah, it's a much better, not a better story. It's a different story than Vengeance, I guess.
He chooses the nomad ending at the end.
Yeah, yeah.
Corpo
no,
background nomad ending.
do you want to jump into spoilers?
Sure.
Yeah,
I mean,
let's-
it's not a you don't the movie's not complex. It's straightforward. If you really wanted to praise it, I would call it unpretentious at its core.
Yeah,
It's about
really
loving with your heart.
Yeah, it really toes the line between like being pretty
Yeah.
preachy and like kind of over the top about like hookup culture and like self-reflection on certain events, and then like kind of it abandons that at one point, brings it around again later on, but it also the main focus is kind of that the ideal look at American life and how we're not so different, you and I.
Yeah, it plays
Yeah.
around with a lot of different themes.
And
And it does a decent job giving enough time to all of them, but they can feel a little unfocused in spots because there are so many levels of subtext and different themes that it's trying to approach.
yeah, I will also say, the first half of the plot is basically an extended George Costanza arc from any given Seinfeld episode, and
And that's
kind
when
of
the movie's
plays it.
at its best.
Yeah. So I was saying, like, let that dictate. If nothing else we said will inform you before we get into spoilers. Let that inform you of how you want to feel about this movie.
Yeah.
It's one big. I could see George Costanza doing this. Going to Texas because a lady he met once died.
Yeah,
And
it does feel fairly Seinfeldian.
And with that, I think we should get into spoilers.
Yeah.
Sure.
So the premise of the movie, as far as the trailer would lead you to believe, is that this guy, hooked up with this girl and the family thinks they were more serious, and he flies out to Texas for the funeral. And that's how the movie plays it for for a long time, and you find out more about the girl, and really the last 20 minutes they kind of undermine the whole portrait of this girl and what you know about her. And I don't think that was the best way to tie it all together. Like, everyone keeps saying, oh, she wouldn't even touch an Advil. And then it's like, oh, well, she was actually a real big pill popper. And you're like, well, that kind of cuts out the intrigue. And
blows
then
a hole in
when
those
he
tires.
finally gets her phone open and he calls the number that he was listed under, and it turns out to be Ashton Kutcher's character, you're like, okay, so their relationship didn't mean anything to her either. She was just using him as like a beard essentially. And he spent this whole movie posthumously falling in love with this girl, and you think, well, maybe the message is, this is what you miss out on with hookup culture because you never get to know the person. And it juxtaposes with the conversation he and his dude bro friend are having at the beginning of the movie about, oh, I don't want to know about, what siblings you have and shit like that. It's all unnecessary.
Right. I honestly thought for a lot of the movie, that I thought that he knew that she was like into drugs or something. At least if I would have played it like he knew she was into drugs. They did drugs on the night they were together. So everyone's saying he's holding it in, like he doesn't say anything, so that when the end of the second act breakdown happens, he says that it's like, you all think she's a saint. You all think she's I was with her when she was there. We were popping pills together. How's that for your truth? And just like say some real hurtful shit. But yeah, kind of comes out from like the side.
But like, yeah, the whole movie though is like building up this posthumous romanticization he has of her. Like he's like, oh, her music was beautiful. The more you hear her voice, the more you're gonna fall in love. Hi, cat.
Yeah, he's like falling in love with her as he's trying to look back through her life and how everyone else saw her.
That kind of fallout. I don't know. It just. I would have wrapped this movie up in a completely different way.
It just seems like it was trying to tackle too many things at once. Like it was trying to get too many messages across at once. And they kind of like they get like 70-80% of the way there with one idea before they switch it over to another idea, and then you kind of feel like a little bit of a betrayal when, I mean, you saw it coming that they were not telling the whole truth about this girl, and there was something shady going on. You just had to get that confirmation, and it took the grandma with loose lips, which it seems sloppy to me. Like if they went through the whole jump around to tell the sisters, because the brother Tyler told the two sisters, hey, don't tell them that she uses or is a drug abuser. You'd think that they would have then told Granny that, hey, we're gonna keep her image in a good light. Don't mention this.
You would have,
because she just very nonchalant. I thought it was going to be like a slip of the tongue kind of thing. Like, oop, I shouldn't have said that. But she just was like, oh, yeah, pill popper.
Everyone knows that. Yeah.
It's like, why didn't she bring that up sooner?
Didn't they ask that like immediately?
Yeah. I mean, like Ty was very adamant the whole time that it couldn't have been an overdose like they said so, because, she wasn't a major drug user.
I mean, it seems like the movie just kind of hinges on the fact that Ben, BJ Novak's character, never brought up the fact that we're totally ruling out the fact that she overdosed by herself.
Well, they kind of... There's a point in the middle of the movie where he's doing the narration for the podcast, and like the theme of what he's talking about is like questioning the established narrative, and they replay for you a lot of the like information that have been gathered about the case so far. And one of the points that they repeat in that segment a couple times is the line that, oh, she didn't even touch an Advil. So at that point, they put the question in my head, at least, oh, was she actually someone who used frequently? But they also put up, they baited the hook with a few other possible ideas for the grand conspiracy that to me were far more interesting.
Yeah,
I will say, I was going to say at first the whole everybody's saying the same line, specifically she'd never touch drugs, she wouldn't even touch an Advil. They kind of did a good job of covering that up with like other I guess not necessarily non sequiturs, but just phrases, maybe Texas phrases that they all say, because the whole collective consciousness idea that they also put out there was kind of interesting. It does kind of feel like he was trying to put off the vibe that they're all in on it. They're all kind of culty together. They all live by the same credos. That was a good way to mask it, like the fact that oh, he told everybody to say that she wasn't a pill popper. It just seemed very shallow. I don't think he could have told everybody to say, hey, don't tell this dude that she didn't take drugs or whatever.
So that kind of makes me think. All right, so I think part of why the ending didn't like resonate with me is, well, first I'll put this out there. Did anyone else feel like this was structured like a rom-com?
Just the girl was
thinking
dead.
about it like a rom-com. It's about this guy who's in a relationship with his podcast, right?
Yeah.
Podcast is girl 1, but she dumps him, so he goes to Texas and meets girl 2, which is the Texan family and like Texas culture. They have their meet cute. They have some misunderstandings. They grow to like each other. There's the end of the second act where it all comes out and they get into the argument and they separate. But then they have to get together. And at the same time as they separate, girl 1 calls back and is like, hey, do you want to get back together? And he has to make that choice. Who does he go with? Does he go with podcast or does he go with the family? And then usually how rom-coms go is the climax will be like a very like a declaration, or a grand gesture, which in this case is killing Ashton Kutcher. But usually that's done like with the other party, like,
Yeah,
so
I don't
maybe it would have been better if like the brother was also there and or the town came together and it was like a town justice kind of deal, like
Yeah.
I don't know that I necessarily agree with it conforming to a rom-com structure. I think it has more. I think it follows more of fish out of water story structure, where impetus to leave comfortable situation that you know very well to go to a land that's very different, and there's friction and stuff from there. I see what you're saying, but I don't think it really quite fits that mold there. But I do agree that it would have made more sense since the whole point of him staying in Texas, well, I mean, his selfish reason was to get material for a podcast, but his promise to the family, or the family's objective there, was to get vengeance on the mans who wronged her. And I think Ty is at the party. I think you see him there.
You know what they fucking did? Like, yeah, he sees Ty, and then he goes off with Ashton Kutcher. And that point, I was like, oh, he's the villain. That's how this is going to go down. Because, he was the one in the beginning who was like the one that BJ's character could relate to. So, of course, that makes sense that he would be the one who is ultimately, he represents the betrayal and like the changing of perspective. But you know what they did? They remember when the kid, he has the gun and he's racking the gun as BJ's character is talking about Chekhov's gun.
Yeah.
And then he very conspicuously ties the kid up at the beginning of the last scene. And then that doesn't get paid off. Like that one got me. Like, that's another ending, is like the kid could have like struggled his way free, followed him through the party, and overheard all the things.
I think
and
he used the kid's gun to shoot Ashton Kutcher, though.
Right. But and that was like a big break for his character. What could have made more sense is he's overhearing and he's like just disillusioned. He doesn't know what to do because he doesn't, the police obviously aren't helping and he's not going to be violent. But the kid takes his vengeance because he had the really close relationship with the sister and he was the one who had the gun and he knows how to use a gun better than his character.
I mean, I think as far as the symbology there is, they did the Chekhov's gun, where you see the gun when he's talking about Chekhov's gun. He shows up in his room being like, can you help me unjam my gun? And that's the loading of the gun in the second act, and then he shoots it in the third act to kill the bad guy. Would it have made more sense for the brother to do that? Maybe. I think he tied him up to have him avoid getting hurt because he knew what he was fixing to do.
Right. Or to keep him out of that party. He knew that party might have drugs or alcohol and he didn't want him being a dumbass around there. Or leaving him. I got it as like he didn't want him to leave him stranded in the desert
or have him
right.
wander off. I don't know. Yeah.
Oh no, he ties him up, and then the kid's out of the movie for the rest of it.
Yeah, you really don't see any of them again. Well, at least they don't have a speaking role apart from the mother, and they have their conversation driving him back to the airport. Which, as far as like trying to sum up the message of the movie, it really only hits on a narrow band of what I think the movie was trying to say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and also in that scene, did anyone notice that like the green screen was like really bad in those scenes? I when I was watching, I was like distracted by the background and the aliasing around the actors' heads.
I didn't
I don't
notice
know.
any
That
of
just
that
stuck
on
out
the
to me as like a
version.
one weird thing.
I was
I'm like,
also watching it
wow.
on my phone, so I didn't.
Don't you know from
That was a work
David Lynch?
movie.
If you watch a movie on your phone, you've been cheated. You haven't watched a movie. You've lied to yourself.
Well, I lied to
That's
myself for an hour and 45 minutes, I guess. Thanks, Peacock.
on your fucking phone. I met with George Lucas. He said it says a Wookiee. I'm like, what the hell is a Wookiee?
I think the final thing I'll have to say about this is that the ending was kind of jarring too. It was definitely out of character, I felt, for him to do that. Just like to
shoot the guy is one thing, and then to erase the podcast because I guess blood money.
Yeah, I was just thinking about just shooting him. Yeah, podcast too. Podcast is more in character, I guess, after he like felt that connection to the family, and all that, and and not wanting to like exploit them, because I think he also did understand what Ashton Kutcher's character was saying, was like, hey, I exploited her for her song and drug money and whatever, but you're exploiting this family coming down here and putting them on. They're all characters to you, and that was a good retrospective for
it
Ben.
does kind of wrap it up,
but
I suppose.
Shooting him just felt like it was. I mean, it tonally for everybody else around him, but maybe it should have been the brother to shoot him. I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah,
because
It
he's
should have
this
been Ty,
writer
I feel.
from New York.
I feel like Ty should have been involved. in
Yeah,
that.
he should have been there. Maybe he can't pull the trigger. Maybe he's like shaking. He wants to.
Like,
he can't get the job done.
Smugly says, "You're not going to shoot me. You're not the type,"
then
or whatever. And then
the gunshot.
Ty
from
had
off-screen.
overheard him outside the tent, and the gunshot goes off. He's like, "But I will, you son of a bitch." That's how we do it, Texas style. Yeehaw! And then
that is more like natural and like character wise, wraps up his character. It doesn't throw him on this, oh, he killed a person. Like, yes, this is set in the universe where it's like,
as long as you do it where 4 law enforcement agencies' jurisdictions overlap, you can get away with it.
This is a very grounded reality, and he took somebody's life, and you're expected to just go back to work the next day.
Yeah, like nothing happened. Like, yes, he's a piece of shit, but vigilante justice is also not great. I mean, it's great in comic books, but not great in real life.
I guess that's his character now. Is like, oh, I do podcasts. I shot a man.
I shot a guy in Waco just to watch him die.
I do podcasts and vigilante justice. That's his thing. That's his can you put that on LinkedIn?
Marvel hero.
Yeah, that's kind of. I think that is definitely the biggest reason why the ending kind of didn't work for me, is because like he shoots this guy. It's completely out of character for him, and then he just goes on with his life. Like,
on top
nothing
of that,
happened.
No story to show either. He just spent a week in Texas.
Yeah. And
how much money did he just waste for his boss?
Yeah, you don't see the fallout of that decision.
I want to see the boss after, like, man, I can't believe you deleted all that data. It took us like 2 days to recover that from the.
Yeah.
I mean, thank God the intern had just backed up the cloud.
Yeah, 100%. It's 100%.
Wait, did you think you kept the only copy on Workspace?
Oh God,
we
no.
We were putting
never
that shit together.
Dude, we're sending this out to national outlets. We have backups on backups on backups.
You think you own this? You work for a company that owns your intellectual
property. We just expensed this entire trip to Texas for you.
I edited this. I don't care about them. This big conglomerate you work for, the Radio Collective, we own this. You're a pawn. That is a sequel to Vengeance.
Where he walks into the radio station and he just pulls out the Glock.
So anyway, I started blasting.
It just turns into a fucking pseudo John Wick.
This sequel to Vengeance is Severance. And he's going to get fired when he goes
fired.
There wasn't an Apple TV show.
We're prepared to offer you
same name.
2 months severance pay.
For wasting our fucking time.
We should mention the jokes. The jokes were fine. I kind of wish they went a little harder on him. Like, I wanted them to kind of spool him out into like Austin Powers level gags, where they'll just eat up the whole scene.
Yeah, I thought the amount of humor was fine. The humor was oftentimes stronger than the mystery aspect of it. So yeah. I can see where you're coming from with wanting more of it, but I felt it was appropriate within what this movie was. If this had been constructed as a sillier movie, then yeah, go for it.
Yeah, he was definitely playing a solid straight man. I think BJ Novak writes a good straight character, straight man to the comedy.
Straight white man.
You know what I mean?
I do appreciate that it followed that kind of convention.
Yeah, and he was the less comedic relief one, because I actually don't know how he is in like being the jokey, goofy one, but I think his comedy worked well in his like deadpan delivery of certain things. Like there are some things that he definitely said that made me chuckle. There are more things in this movie that were more philosophical, which I scratched my head at a couple times. I was like, yeah, I'm not supposed to think during these movies. Why is Ashton Kutcher making me like kind of tear up with profound wisdom?
That's Ashton Kutcher now. Like or at least that's where he wants his career to be, is like he's put all of that put a lot of the like goofy slapstick comedy behind him.
Yeah,
and he wants to be a little more cerebral.
I mean, we did just review a trailer on this very show
where he
was definitely not in a cerebral movie.
he accidentally turns the cameras on his love interest and watches them fuck a little bit and throws his phone. No, I get it, because he was in The Ranch for a long time, which is just that 70s show rebooted. Who is also reprising his role in that 90s show as well.
Yeah, I feel like they're going to figure out with that 90s show. So that 90s show is an interesting beast to me, because when Topher Grace left that 70s show, they were like, oh, that's fine. Eric wasn't exactly the most popular character. We can make it work without him. And then the show completely fell apart. And so they're like, okay, let's try this again.
And what's funny is that they brought a good amount of those characters back in The Ranch. Now Danny Masterson is no longer around.
His own issues, yeah.
Yep.
He is, I believe, in prison or on parole or something.
Classic move.
But in The Ranch, they brought a lot of those characters back. Fez, Kitty, Danny Masterson's character,
Hyde,
yeah. Kelso, Ashton Kutcher's character, and there might have been one more character. I can't remember who.
He is currently awaiting his second trial on rape charges.
Yeah, and that's full blown rape. That's not like you just didn't like fondle somebody without their consent. I think he like drugged somebody or abused somebody into rape. That was bad.
Isn't he also like a fucking Scientologist? Cultist guy.
They're all like Scientologists.
He's gonna say Tom Cruise made him do it.
Helmet Tom
Or
Cruise.
there was something. There
So
might
the
have been something weird with that.
His first trial, I guess, ended in a hung jury.
Nice.
Though they lean toward acquittal. So they're retrying it. I guess he got off on the first beat, but they're retrying it because one, it was a hung jury, and two, they felt that they have a strong enough case to convict.
I thought I had heard something about like the Church of Scientology not liking him and kind of maybe possibly propping up.
That's gotta be rough.
Yeah.
You know, I would normally denounce that as a crazy conspiracy theory, but that is something I could totally see the Church of Scientology
we're putting
doing.
you back down a couple levels.
We're going to pay some people to accuse you of some pretty nasty things to drag your name through the mud. Now, he may well have done it.
Allegedly.
I don't know. I don't have a dog in the fight. I don't know any of the facts.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about Vengeance.
That's Vengeance.
Vengeance
That's not Vengeance.
is a cool, Scientology, Vengeance Scientology style.
Vengeance is a dish best served in a bag of Fritos.
Yeah, Frito pie.
It's never heard of taco in a bag? Come on.
It's a fine movie. There are definitely worse movies you could watch out there. I would give it a recommendation. I think it's pretty solid. And I did recommend it for this week's episode. So
there we go. That's about it.
All right. That's going to wrap it up for 349. Next episode's 350. We have nothing special planned for that. So you'll have to wait another year for episode 400 before we do something special. But until then, be well, stay safe, and party like it's 1995.
Peace.
Bye-bye.